Welcome to Beyond Hormones, the Business of Wellness, the podcast for hormone and functional medicine providers who want a thriving, predictably profitable practice and maybe a little less stress along the way. Hi, I'm your host, Jody Layne, and I've worked with lots of clinics in marketing, sales, and business development, and I have seen what works and what doesn't. And here's what I believe. Hormone and wellness care should be available to everyone who wants it. And while providers know the medicine, many struggle with the business side of their cash practice. And that's where I come in. See, this podcast is here to share real strategies, real stories, things you can implement in your practice right away. So I am so glad you're here. Come on, let's go. Let's stop pretending that marketing is just a little harder right now. It's not a little harder, it's fundamentally different. Leads cost more, patients take longer to decide, and what used to work doesn't seem to work anymore. But here's what most hormone and wellness clinics are still doing: running ads, getting leads, calling twice, leaving a voicemail, and then blaming the leads. They weren't serious, they couldn't afford it, they were just shopping around. Well, maybe that's true, but what if that's not actually the problem? What if the problem isn't your leads? What if it's that the way patients buy healthcare has changed and your marketing hasn't changed? Because here's the reality in 2026. Trust is low. Attention is fragmented. People are overwhelmed and they are deeply skeptical of being sold to. And yet you're asking someone to trust you with their body, their hormones, their energy, their mood, their weight, their sleep, their marriage, and their aging. That is not a casual purchase. So today I want to walk you through the 5 marketing shifts that hormone and wellness clinics must make in 2026 if they want predictable growth without burning a bunch of money on ads, exhausting their team, and chasing shiny objects. If you get this right, marketing starts to feel calmer, more predictable, and more aligned. And your consult calendar fills because patients are ready and not pressured. Here we go. Shift number 1. Shift number 1 is lowering the barrier to trust. You see, in 2026, you cannot ask for the big yes right away. Not in healthcare, not in hormones, not in cash pay practices, actually not really in anything. People are cautious. Patients are wondering, is this safe? Is this legitimate? Will I feel worse before I feel better? Is this just expensive marketing that's making me feel like I should buy? Is this different from the last thing that I did that didn't work out? So when someone lands on your website and the only option is to book a $300 consult, it feels to them like a pretty big leap. Instead, you need a bridge, something that says, come closer, learn first, no pressure. That could look like a hormone education webinar, a symptom quiz, a downloadable guide, a live Q&A, a short clarity call. You're not discounting your expertise. I want to be super clear about that. What you're doing is you're sequencing trust. And here's the important part: lowering the barrier. It only works if you have a system that continues nurturing them after they raise their hand. All right, shift number 2. Shift number 2 is playing the long game, because we are living in a trust deficit era, and not just in marketing. Zoom out for a moment with me. Trust in institutions has declined. Trust in the media has declined. Trust in corporations, trust in government, it's all declined. And yes, trust in healthcare has declined as well. Patients are more skeptical than ever. They've seen conflicting headlines. They've had disappointing medical experiences. They've been told hormones are dangerous, it's going to cause cancer, and then they're told they're life-changing and they're safe. So when they find your clinic, they don't instantly believe you. They research, they compare, they read your reviews, they watch your videos, they ask their spouse, they ask their friends, they sit and they think. There's an analysis published by the email tool tester that I read recently that examined how many interactions it takes before someone makes a purchase. What they found is that buyers typically require anywhere between 20 and 30 touch points before deciding to buy. Not 2 or 3, 20 to 30. And that's across all industries. In cash pay healthcare, especially in our industry of hormone optimization, it can be even more. The path isn't linear either. People bounce between exploring, comparing, doubting, researching, and re-engaging. Google actually calls this the messy middle. It's not clean, it's not perfectly trackable, but it's happening, which means if your strategy is to get a lead, call twice, and move on, you're exiting the relationship before trust is built. That is why you must offer more in the middle, more education, more exposure, more reassurance, more follow up, and more consistency. And you can't rely on X happening, which produces Y. They fill out a form and then suddenly they buy. It's all over the place. And presence, it requires structure because your team can't manually create 20 to 30 meaningful touch points for every single lead without something breaking. All right, shift number 3 is choosing scrappy over perfect. Here's what I see all the time. Clinic owners think that if you're going to do a video, it needs to look professional. We need lighting, we need editing, we need a marketing team. And so what happens? They do nothing because it feels expensive, time consuming, and uncomfortable. And it's 100% outside their comfort zone. But here's what's ironic about all of that. You already teach every single day. You sit across from a patient and explain what testosterone does, how estrogen affects their mood, why sleep is so important, why their labs look the way that they do. That's content. Marketing is simply teaching at scale. Instead of teaching one patient across the desk, you turn on your camera and you teach to 100 people. The barrier is not your skill. It's fear. Fear of being visible, fear of being judged, fear of not looking polished. But patients don't want polished. They want the truth. They want confidence and they want reassurance. It's my belief that scrappy builds connection faster than perfection. And in healthcare, connection converts. All right, shift number 4 is selling transformation, not information. Patients don't need more information about hormones. They can get that on Google. They can ask ChatGPT. Information is cheap. Transformation is valuable. Most clinic marketing sounds like this. We offer bioidentical hormone replacement therapy. That's information. But what patients want is they want to be able to sleep again. They want their brain back. They want their energy back. They want to feel strong in their 50s. That's transformation and not generic transformation. They want to know how you do it. What makes your process so specific and different? What is your proven system? What kind of results are you achieving consistently with other people? And why do your patients stay with you? If you have patients that stay for years, talk about that. Explain why. Is it ongoing optimization? Is it deep personalization? Is it proactive lab reviews? Is it some kind of long-term relationship and partnership you have? Give them a preview of the journey. When they can see the path clearly, they will step forward. All right, shift number 5. It's understanding that your personal brand is no longer optional. Now, this is the hardest one for clinicians because as a medical provider, you're trained to stay neutral, trained to stay clinical, trained to stay behind the credentials. But in 2026, patients don't trust institutions. They trust people. They don't connect with a logo, they connect with a face. Building a personal brand does not mean that you need to become an influencer. It means sharing your philosophy, explaining what you believe about aging, talking about why you got into hormones, sharing what frustrates you about conventional care, and showing up consistently. And you can start small. Record one teaching video a week, write one thoughtful blog a week, share one insight from a patient conversation. And you don't need to do it everywhere. You just need to be visible enough to build familiarity. Familiarity builds trust. Trust fills consult calendars. When someone fills out a lead form, they're going to go look for you. So be there. Look, most hormone clinics don't really have a marketing problem. They have a follow-up and system problem. You can understand all 5 of these shifts, but if you don't have a structure that executes them consistently, then nothing's going to change. I'm doing a free training called Why Leads Don't Convert and What Successful Wellness Clinics Do Instead. It goes a little bit deeper from this video into how you can create more intentional marketing in 2026. The link to register is down below, and I really hope that you join me. But let me leave you with this. You already care deeply about your patients. You already are changing lives. You already sit across from people who are saying things like, I finally feel like myself again. Thank you. That matters. Hormone and wellness medicine is not transactional, it's transformational. In a skeptical, noisy world, patients need providers like you more than ever. If marketing has felt frustrating or growth has felt unpredictable, don't assume you're just bad at marketing. It may simply mean that you need a better system and better authenticity. So keep going, keep teaching, keep showing up, and let's make sure your marketing supports the mission you are already living every single day. I hope that you enjoyed this episode, and I hope to see you inside. Thank you for listening to Beyond Hormones, the business of wellness. I hope that you're walking away with fresh ideas and real strategies you can use to grow your practice with profit and purpose. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to follow the show so you never miss a conversation. And if something you heard today resonated with you, do me a favor, share this episode with a friend or a colleague. It's one of the best ways you can support the show, and it might be exactly what they need to hear right now. If you want even more tools and support, go ahead and head over to acceleratedmedicalpractices.com. Until next time, keep doing the work that matters. Your patients need you, and I am cheering you along every step of the way.